This underwater learning experience is brought to you by Sakakawea State University. Stay in schools.
So Andrew, we're up here on the river section of Lake Sakakawea, and we're on a kind of a big sand flat, but also a bend where these fish are really stacked up. So what are we doing today to actually get these fish to bite?
We're just, this morning we just hopped around, hole to hole until we found the depth they wanted to be in, and now the sun's up and clear skies, we had to push out a little bit, but yeah, just jigging spoons, jigging wraps, anything like that. You've been using a tungsten, catching a few, and some plastic, I think, too.
Yep.
So the big thing, I think, is just being able to get down fast, too. A lot of times today we've had 2, 3, 4 fish on the screen, so getting the first one is great. You get back down there and get that second one, just a bonus. So.
Yep. Like this morning, everything was just hot and heavy, Andrew. And, now it's getting a little bit later in the morning. So what are the things we got to do to transition into a slower bite here?
A lot of things I like to do is, like, we're running this dead stick right next to where we're jigging here. Sometimes, like this morning, didn't matter. They were jigs, dead sticks. They didn't really care. But now you might get that one fish that comes in that he doesn't really want to chase you anymore. But the dead stick's a great option for him, too. So keeping that close by, you kind of attract them in with your jig and then get them on the dead stick if they don't want to commit.
Yeah, one thing that's been crazy is just the amount of fish that we were getting on the graph this morning. Like you said, having something a little bit heavier to get down to those fish to pick off maybe a second or even a third one like we were getting.
Yeah.
What does color tend to matter a lot on these kinds of bites?
I don't think it matters too much. Like on a day like today, no. I like to use a lot of greens and UVs and stuff like that, but I guess I haven't really seen where I got to switch color just to get bit most days. So a lot of times I think it's profile and just the action of the lure too. So like this morning, Peter, we were getting fish. Sometimes they'd even come in a foot off the bottom and we get them to chase.
Yep, like that one right there.
Let me grab your deucer for you.
Yep. Yeah, that one, like you just said, I got him a foot or two off the bottom,
A lot of times that's all it takes.
Yeah. A little bit better on there.
Yeah, nice leader.
Awesome.
Here you are.
Sweet. Yeah, we've been catching a lot of fish just like this. They're perfect eater size between 15, 20 inches. This came on a UV pink tungsten, so it's a little bit of a mix of the UV and big bright colors.
Right, and a little bit of a downsize from what was happening this morning too.
Yep. So that's a nice fish.
Got one down there now too. See if
we could keep them, we would. We put a lot of fish on the ice early this morning, you know, so we were on a good hot bite. Now we're just out here having fun catching fish.
Right, and a lot of times it seems like that magic hour, you can make them chase you. You said you had some coming up 8, 10 feet off the bottom. Now today, later on the day like this with clear skies, I think, you got to not pull it away from quite as fast and just give them a chance to eat it too.
Yeah, what was really interesting is, we were out here, a lot of us are using minnows, just a good solid, obvious bait choice to get these fish to bite, but these fish were so aggressive when we first got here. I was using, 3-inch Ned worms that I use for smallmouth bass, tubes, so being able to experiment on a good bite like this is always a ton of fun. It's just one of my favorite ways to catch fish too, is trying something new that you don't normally use.
Yeah, right, and you get to gain confidence in a new bait, and you never know, that could be your new favorite one going forward.
Yeah. So Andrew, when we're out here, we've got all these different baits, different color sizes, shapes going out. And a lot of people are saying you got to jig either really subtle or you get a lot of action going. So when's that time you should know to maybe switch up your presentation of your bait?
I think a lot of it for me is I just watch my electronics, and if I'm getting, if this morning I was getting bit every fish that I marked or every other or so, and once you start getting 2 or 3 in a row that turned you down, it's always nice to switch up. I always keep another rod handy just to give something else to offer them. So a lot of it you just have to go off the mood of the fish, and just like for jigging too, not so much for lure, just for like your jigging action, you might pull it away a couple feet off the bottom.
Yeah, I got
is it on you?
Too. Oh,
you might be. Just a lot of times I'll like to have them just chase as high as they'll go, until they bite. But sometimes you'll pull it away from that next fish and he'll just stop, put it off the bottom, and then you kind of just got to make a mental note.
Is there a point where you can get too aggressive with your jigging?
I think with the spoons and like the jigging wraps we're using now, I don't really think so. I think if you have a, a big rattle bait or something like that, if you're really ripping it hard, you can, they may come a couple feet away and you're not marking them quite yet. And then if you're really ripping it, you could spook them a little bit,
Yeah.
depending on their mood. But with the baits that we're using now, I really don't think, as far as just to attract them, I don't think you can really jig it too hard. So.
Yeah, traditionally when I'm out on the ice and, got family on the ice, especially, with all the tip ups and dead sticks and like bobbers we've got down under the ice, we've got, either a minnow on a bear hook, roaming free, or we've got them on a jig. So they got, just a bit subtle movement in a confined area. When you're out here putting dead sticks out, what are the options you go to for those?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. The eye candy rigs that you guys make work really well. And I usually just spread it out. We're allowed 4 lines here. Got one coming up.
Yeah, I got
Allowed 4 lines here, so you can kind of mix and match and experiment a little bit. And you just got to follow what the fish want that given day. So, but yeah, between that eye candy rig and just a jig that'll hold them right in place so they can't roam around. Sometimes they're not as aggressive. That works a lot better.
Yeah, because fairly recently we were on the ice with the family, and the biggest walleye, the sister caught, it was on a bare hook rig. The minnow had 4 feet to swim around from the center of the hole. So there's a lot of movement there. And then you have to go, even the same day within the next hour, switching up to a jig. So there's a subtle movement in a confined area. So.
Yeah, it just kind of goes back to just paying attention to either your electronics like here, or if you get one rod that's getting bit more than the other, to give them what they want.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a nice fish. This is a really nice fish.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
That's a good way to end the day.
That's a good way to end the day, absolutely. Andrew, it's been a blast being on the ice with you, and we cannot wait to get on the water with you once again. When you guys take the time to understand just the little details, whether it's changing drastically or even changing just a little, you're going to catch a lot more fish. Let's get this guy back and catch some more.